The following video may contain spoilers for both the anime and the manga. If you have not done both of them, please get off this video. Hello everyone! This is Dragon Videos, ready to present another theory video. I know it's Christmas month, but I wanted to throw this in here while we still had a chance and before the next future chapters of My Hero Academia come out and play. So, as what we've seen previously in the war arc, both Yue and the heroes are starting to get some leverage, and just in time too. Izuku's also trying to beat up the bat, but there are still some questions we've yet to have. There's even some rumors of an upcoming arc coming soon, but we've yet to know what they're going to be about. So we all know that there's always going to be a pattern with the arcs. They have intense moments, and then later on there's soft moments that ease us out that emotional high. But I feel like there is an arc that may have some potential. It's a bit of a long shot, but I feel like this could be something of importance because, one, we still have yet to know who the UA trader is, and another thing that I felt like would be very interesting to look over is an alliance between the students of UA and some of the remaining members of the League of Villains. And of course, this would seem a very interesting concept because I've seen it before in anime such as Dragon Ball Z and a little bit of One Piece. I know what you're all thinking. Whoa there, Dragon. Why on earth would the villains would do that? I mean, after all, both Yue and the villains have nearly trashed each other ever since the camp arc to now. Well, true, but I'm going over some 3 contexts that might help influence the tipping scale. Don't forget, we still have a big threat with All for One as we have been seeing as of late. But again, this is a video so I'm going to explain further about that alliance. So, when we last seen Tomura in the chapters, his body has been recently hijacked by All for One, as we are slowly piecing together the grim truth behind those experiments and why people of Tomura had to be picked, and not just because he's Nana Shimura's grandson. So here are some of the things I'd like to consider in part of this theory. If we review from what we've seen in previous chapters and what from the events of anime, All for One is a very apathetic fella. He doesn't really care about his men, so as long as they have a good and interesting quirk, he'll willingly take them on, and basically loves to mess people around with cards. And the reason why he probably knows about Suichi's quirk, no doubt he would toss them aside, as well as Mr. Compresses, because his is kinda iffy. So, whatever All for One's planning, he may find the rest of a trio useless, up to the point where he feels like there's no need to have them around anymore. It would escalate to that is, if they escape, the trio may find themselves at the mercy of All for One. But Tomura might pull a last-ditch effort to fight them off. Remember, Tomura isn't as cruel as All for One. He may appear apathetic at times, but it seems like he tries to put the consideration of his teammates first and foremost, more than All for One does. And then of course we have Hawks and Dabi. Hawks definitely triggered a lot of stuff happening, and not only that, but we've also had problems with Dabi. Oh, true, we've learned about his background and definitely had that he's a Todoroki theory blown out of the water, but yet at the same time we've found him to become the most despised character in the series so far. Not only because he's so apathetic, he doesn't care for his teammates. And don't forget, he's sent twice as a sacrificial lamb. Upon learning about this, I'm pretty sure that Himiko Toga, as well as the rest of the crew, are going to be really devastated by this and find themselves having an emotional spiral that will practically send them through the roof. It's even up to this point where, after escaping them and probably sooner or later falling into the mercy of the heroes, we definitely get an idea that slowly but surely the villains of the Villain Alliance, or the League of Villains, is going to crumble seriously hard by the end of a war arc and in future chapters. Which I believe is part of a reason this UA alliance with the villains would happen. They had enough with this horrific crud, and of course they may be inspired by the teamwork of the UA students and some of their respect for one another in order to continue facing off with the common enemy. So, of course, we have a look at 3 of the League of Villain members who might have some form of redemption arc. True, Himiko Toga's kind of 50-50 right now after what happened with Ochako and the fallout, but I feel like the one person who would get through her is Sue. We've seen Sue take on a snake, but that's a theory for another time. Anyway, her connection is with Twice, but if she finds herself being exposed to more people who genuinely love her as much as Twice did, it may help her overcome those feelings. And we don't know the answer, but if she believes that something about the heroes is different from what she did in the past, it might help. And then of course you have Mr. Compress. He is one of the generals in the Brown Army of the Liberation Front, as well as Spinner. He is that of the Code and practically follows that of Stain. During the majority of a war arc, they've been stoically silent the majority of the time. Even though Mr. Compress's face was hard to see, it looked like he was grimacing at something. As for Spinner, he's been staring off into space and looked like he was emotionally troubled by all this. I don't know what sort of ideas he may develop by the war arc, but he definitely seems troubled at the idea that this was not something he signed up for. In other words, all 3 of them seem to be pretty upset by the whole ordeal of things. And plus, after losing their friend, it could cause them to be disillusioned. And of course, both Spinner and Mr. Compress are in, again, the Brown Generals of the Paranormal Liberation Front. And we all know that the color brown has a tendency of symbolizing as a neutral color, which I feel like might have been Horikoshi's way of symbolizing some of their neutral position in the whole ordeal of the war. However, when they realize the situation they're in, as well as I've previously mentioned about All for One, as well as the somewhat betrayal of Dabi, they may realize that they're probably better off being with the heroes than being with people who treat them like crud the majority of the time. So Twice has been a major fan favorite as we began to explore more of his character. Plus, he was very well loved by the other members of the league, if not from Dabi. And yes, of course, I too realized that he is dead in the My Hero Academia manga. And it's still devastating to this day. But if my theory about what had happened is correct, then Twice should be revived, and I feel like he can play a huge role in this redemption. So, whether it's through Erie's quirk or the feathers being not as sharp as we originally thought, it might give us some sense of leverage for the heroes. You see, Twice really was a very close friend to the majority of a league of villains. We all know Dabi didn't view him as much, practically just a toy to his schemes. Anyway, with Twice added back into the picture, it could help the heroes make the villains listen to them more, as well as make them a bit more cooperative in case if they have to face off all for one again. And of course, on the UA students' parts, they may have a hard time trying to accept and listen to the other league members, but over time, as we've seen with Dragon Ball Z and One Piece, it definitely develops over time. So these are my thoughts about the theory, and I really hope you enjoyed them. Please remember to do a like, subscribe, and feel free to comment on any other theories you may have about the next arc or what is yet to come. Bear in mind, we have the rest of the month for Christmas, so if there's any Christmas stuff that you want me to do, please feel free to comment as well. This is Dragon Videos, signing off.